It's time to look ahead because on Tuesday in the Champions League, Real Madrid have a massive matchup against Atalanta. And this game is a pretty big one because it's a must win. I feel like I say this for every single match that Real Madrid have, but that's just what it feels like at the moment. We need to treat every single game as if it's the Champions League final because we have been shit in the UCL this season. We've already lost 3 games in this new Champions League standings format, and we are sitting last in qualification. We are in the 24th spot. If we lose this game against Atalanta, there's a possibility that we don't advance to the next round. Could you imagine Real Madrid not being in the knockout stages of the Champions League? Are you kidding me? So yes, this is a must win, and this is a huge game. It's arguably the biggest game of the week. Now, these two teams are coming in on very different form. Atalanta are on fire right now. I can't tell you the last time they lost a game. Real Madrid, on the other hand, have been like a yo-yo, up and down with their form, up and down with their performances. So I'm a bit nervous about this game. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to sweat thinking about this match because every single game so far this season has just been so stressful. And I think we're going to be in for a stressful night against Atalanta as well. But that is our next game, right? This is the hardest game that we have left on the calendar until December ends and the new year starts. And something else that, if you do care about the storylines, something else to factor in is that we played Atalanta in the UEFA Super Cup. We beat them 2-0. And in that game, we didn't even play that well. We struggled a bit. So, Atalanta, they're going to want their lick back. They're definitely going to be motivated for this game. Every single team that plays us ends up having the best performance that they've had all season. So, big game ahead, right? And we're going to talk about all of the things leading up to this match. We're going to look at the team news for both of these squads, right? We're also going to look at the injury reports. And then at the end of this stream, I will be building the starting 11 that I think Real Madrid will put out there. So I need you guys to smash that like button, right? Subscribe to the channel and get in the comment section and let me know what you're thinking about for this match. And do not forget to turn on those post notifications. All right, people? Now, let's talk about Real Madrid's form. So let's look at this Champions League table. Now, what's something that you notice, right? Obviously, the Champions League this season, it's very different to how it was in the past, right? Now there's a league phase, and it looks like a league table, like what you will see in the Premier League or La Liga or Serie A or Liga 1, right? And I think I like this idea. It's very cool to see it play out this way. But with the Champions League format now changing, that means so does the qualifications for the next round. Now, I just told you guys, if Real Madrid lose to Atalanta, us qualifying for the knockout stage gets very hard. Now, I brought this up and I asked you, what's something that you notice with the teams that we're seeing right here? I'll give you 1 second because it's obvious you don't see Real Madrid. I got to scroll down to find us. Look at where we are sitting in the Champions League standings. 24th. We have lost 3 of our 5 Champions League games. We have been shit in this tournament. We've just been awful. But look at where Atalanta are sitting. Atalanta are currently 5th in the UCL standings. I don't think they've lost a game in the Champions League this season. And we'll talk about Atalanta a little later in the video. But, I mean, this season, for Real Madrid has been a nightmare. 24th. Now, in case you are living underneath a rock and you maybe forgot what it's like with the new Champions League format, right? I will walk you through it real quick just to show you how serious this is. Now, you guys see right here, the top 8 teams, after all the games are played, they will automatically qualify for the knockout rounds. If you finish anywhere from 9th to 24th, you will have to play a playoff game to qualify for the next round. If you finish below 24th, you are automatically knocked out of Europe for the season, right? You guys remember in the old Champions League format with the group stages, if you came third, then you get bounced down to the Europa League. There's none of that. You either qualify for the next round or you are finished. Finito. And our run in the UCL has been awful. We lost to Lille. We lost to AC Milan. We lost to Liverpool. And we are only on 6 points after 5 games. We are the defending champions. We are the kings of this competition. And we're getting embarrassed every single time. We have not played one good game in the Champions League this season. We've only had one good half, and that was against Dortmund. And they were cooking us in the first. We beat Stuttgart, and we struggled. They were cooking us. We have been shit in the UCL. Now, on a more positive note, let's look at the La Liga table. We are currently sitting second, right? We are 2 points behind Barcelona, and we have a game in hand. So things are looking a little bit better in the league, despite us losing to Bilbao the other day, despite how shit we have been for a large part of this season, right? We are still involved in the title race in La Liga. And the reason why this is relevant, because some people might say, yo, Carnage, this is not relevant because you're not playing in La Liga on Tuesday. You're playing in the UCL. The reason why this matters is because the league is your bread and butter. This is where you pick up form. This is where you're going to be playing a majority of the games for your season. So while we have been shit in the Champions League, we've not been as bad in La Liga, even though, again, for a majority of this season, I still have not been happy with what I've been seeing. Now, I want to talk to you guys about our recent form, right? Just look at how things are looking right now. So last game, we beat Girona 3-0. We will talk about that in a few minutes. Before that, we lost to Bilbao. Look, like the performances been mid. You're seeing the L's right here, right? We lost to Liverpool last time in the Champions League, 2-0. They absolutely dominated us. After about 30 minutes, it was all them. AC Milan embarrassed us at the Bernabeu. The Portuguese Marcus Rashford, Rafael Leao, running riot against us. If I go back, look, more bad form. Barcelona, 4-0 loss. They cooked us at the Bernabeu. You see us losing to Lille. Against Dortmund, they were beating us 2-0 going into halftime. And then we scored 5 goals in the second half. That has been the story of our season. Second half FC. That's literally what we are. We're not going to beat those allegations. We start off games so poor. And if we do that against Atalanta, they will cook us. Now, the last game that we played was against Girona, right? We beat them 3-0. So we're going to just talk about this for a quick second because obviously this is the form that we're going to be going into the Atalanta matchup on. Now, we absolutely dominated Girona, I'd say, after the 35th minute. But the opening 35 minutes was all Girona. They were absolutely cooking us. And we're just lucky that they don't have the quality up front to finish a lot of the chances that they created. They were the better team, and it was not close. Girona could have been up 2 or 3-0 by the time we got to the 30th minute. But luckily, they're just not that good this season, right? They don't have Dovbik. They don't have Savio. They don't got the usual ballers that are usually out there cooking for them because they got raided last summer. So this is a very different Girona team, and we benefited from that. Now, Jude Bellingham dropped an absolute man-of-the-match performance, and he scored in the first half, and then things started to turn for us, and then in the second half, Girona just died, and we blitzed them. But the reason that I'm bringing up that first half is because if we give Atalanta those chances that Girona had, you think Lookman's not going to score those? So, yes, I'm happy with the 3-0 win, right? I'm glad to be going into this Atalanta game on some good form, but we cannot play that same style of football. We can't. I need Carlo Ancelotti to fix up, man. But all in all, right, let's be honest, because before I go talk about Atalanta, they are going to be considered the favorites in this match, just on the form alone. So let me know what you guys have been thinking about Real Madrid's form this season, right? Have you been happy with it? Or am I just being negative? What do you think the boys need to do to be able to get a win versus a very informed Atalanta? But let's talk about the ops. Now, I showed you guys the UCL table earlier, but I want to look at it again, right? Look at where Atalanta are in the Champions League. They are sitting 5th. In 5 games, they've won 3 and they've drawn twice. They've only conceded 1 goal. Their defense has been amazing in the competition. They are in pole position to qualify for the knockout rounds automatically. They might not even have to play in a playoff game. Now, there are 3 other games that they're going to have to run through, so nothing is guaranteed. But I'm just talking about how they have looked so far in the competition. They are sitting where we should be. Imagine me talking about Real Madrid in the Champions League and me bringing up that there's a threat of us possibly not qualifying for the next round. Nobody would ever think that that would be something that can actually happen. But yet, here I am. Here I am talking about how good Atalanta are doing and how shit we are. So yeah, in the UCL, they have been amazing, right? Fair play to them because I'm impressed. To be honest, like what they're doing this season is nothing short of insane, right? Like let's look at them in the in Serie A, my fault. So in Serie A, they're top of the league at the time of this recording, right? Them and Napoli are going band for band in the league. Look at their form. They have not lost in their last 5 games at least. And we're going to look at all their other run of games. But Atalanta have been the best team in Italy. They have a really good goal difference, right? Plus 21. They've played 15 games. They've won 11. They've drawn 1 time. They lost 3 times. They've bagged 38 goals in the league, and they've only conceded 17. They are on the form of their life. This is nuts. Let's just scroll down. Let's just look at their recent form, right? You know how I showed you guys Real Madrid's last run of games, right? You're seeing a few reds in there for the L's. Look at Atalanta. They just beat AC Milan 2-1, right? They just beat Roma. This is nuts. Look at what they did to Napoli a month ago, 3-0. Now, what I do want to call out, though, is that their Champions League run has been a little easy. Let's just be fair here, okay? Real Madrid have had a very tough run in the Champions League, whereas AC Milan, not AC Milan, but Atalanta, the only noteworthy team that they played was Arsenal, right? Like, look at their Champions League games. The last time they ran in the UCL, they played Young Boys. Then before that, they beat Stuttgart, right? Those are 2 kind of scrubby teams. Hold on. Then you also have Celtic, who they played against. And then they drew with Arsenal. But they also did draw with Celtic as well. and they played Shakhtar. They haven't really been playing any big teams in the UCL. But since, what is this? Since September, the end of September, right? They lost to Como. Since then, they've been on a very good run. So even though their UCL competition hasn't been the best, they're still taking care of business in the league. And they've beaten the big teams in Italy. So again, gotta respect them. And in the UCL, like I showed you guys, their form has been amazing. Now, I do want to look at Atalanta's squad, right? Because they do have some talented players over there. And, just in case anybody else is not familiar with the talent that Atalanta have, I thought we should just run through this. So, look, I've heard a lot about this center back, and I do not watch Atalanta play. But Scalvini, I've heard that he's a really good defender, right? We all know about Lookman. He's their best attacker. We saw in the Europa League final against Leverkusen, he scored a hat trick, right? We all know about the midfielder that they have, Ederson, the Brazilian. He's a baller. He's also being linked with the move to Man City, right? Ederson's a very good player. Good on the ball, right? He's also good defensively as well. Scamacca is injured. I forget which game he got that injury in. And then they have, look at their squad. Now, a lot of these guys, I cannot really pronounce their name without sounding like an absolute idiot. So I'm not going to do it. But I know all of these guys. Very talented squad that they have here, right? Definitely do not think that just because these players are not the biggest names, that they won't go out there and cause us problems. Because football is not just played on paper. If it was, we'd never lose a game, right? There's a reason why teams that we view as lesser than us give us a hard time. So, yeah, here's that Atalanta squad, right? If you guys have been watching them this season, whether that's in Serie A or the Champions League, definitely let me know who has been their main player this season, right? Like, is there anybody that's not the obvious players that we need to be worried about, right? Or just anything else that you're thinking for their squad. Now, as I said earlier, right, the last game that Atalanta played was against AC Milan a few days ago. And they went out there, got a 2-1 win. And I'm not really here to talk about that game specifically because I didn't watch it, right? I don't really watch Serie A that often. But I did just want to look at the starting 11 that they put out there because this is more than likely going to be the starting 11 that they run against us. Now, Atalanta, they do have a unique shape, right? If you look at them in terms of with the back three, right? A 3-4-1-2. How many times do we go up against that? Not that often. But I did just want to run through this real quick. So, the main players, we talked about it when we looked at the squad, but overall, 3-4-1-2. So, they have Karaneshi in their goal, right? Back three of Jimsy, Hine, and Kolasinac. In midfield, right? Bellanova, Martin Darun, Ederson, and then Matteo Ruggeri. And then in the 10, they got Mario Pasalic. And then the two strikers, right? They got Lookman. And then, again, it's like reading some of these names that they have is like freaking tongue twisters here. But I do expect this to be their starting 11 against us. Maybe with like a few changes here or there. But yeah, that is why it's important to look at this. And last thing that we'll do, right? Atalanta with their injuries. It's only two. Zappacosta and Scamacca. Scamacca got injured early in the season. I think he did ACL, if I'm not mistaken. So he's not going to be involved, right? Zappacosta, he could possibly be out there. They're saying mid-December, and we're damn near in mid-December already. So they're a pretty healthy team. Not only are they on good form, but they're going to have damn near all of their players available for that match. Now, let's talk about Real Madrid, right? Because we have a lot of injury news. And let's start off with some positives. Now, the biggest piece of news that we could have gotten is that Vinicius has returned. And boy, have we missed him. Vinny has missed, I think, our last 3 games. right? He got injured after the Leganes match, right before the Liverpool game. And we just have seen the impact that he has for us. I tried to tell people Vinicius is the best player in the world. And what this injury that he had showed us with the few games that he missed was that Mbappe cannot be the main guy at Real Madrid because he had a chance to play on the left wing. He had a chance to let the team run through him, and we have struggled. Vinicius coming back is a huge boost. Now, I am a bit nervous because Vinny is coming back slightly early. We know that he wasn't supposed to be back for at least another week, I think. So I really hope that our fitness department has assessed him correctly because we cannot afford for us to keep on getting injured. But having Vinicius back, going against arguably one of the best defenses in Europe, is a huge boost, right? Some other positive news. Rodrigo will also be available for this match, right? Rodrigo came back from injury a few days ago, right? He was supposed to play in our last game against Girona, but then we all woke up to the news that Rodrigo got injured again, and there were reports that he was going to be out for 3 to 4 games. But Carlo Ancelotti has come out and said that Rodrigo will be available for Atalanta. So that's another boost that we will have for our attack. And then we also got to talk about my guy Jude. Arguably, he's been our best player about the last month of the season. The guy has been phenomenal. Jude Bellingham is him, one of the best midfielders in the world. Now, the reason why we're even talking about him is because against Girona, he got subbed off because he had an apparent injury. And that made a lot of people nervous because we know how important he is. Like, if there's no Jude in that midfield, all the creativity from the midfield is just gone. It's gone. Like, Jude has been pulling the strings lately. But Carlo has confirmed that Jude is fine, right? And he subbed him off because he was a bit tired. But I know a lot of us that were watching that game were holding our breath when Jude had to be subbed off after he went down. But he will be available for the game against Atalanta. Now, a player that will not be there is Ferland Mendy. Ferland Mendy is injured. He got injured against Girona, and there's a possibility that he won't come back until January. Now, I know a lot of people might not care, right? Ferland Mendy definitely has lost a lot of fans this season with how poorly he's played. But I think that Mendy's being singled out because I think for a large part of this season, a majority of our players have been mid. But it seems like people just want to focus on a select few. It's okay, right? I think Ferland Mendy would have been beneficial for this game, considering the high-powered attack that Atalanta have shown this season, right? I think a player like Ferland Mendy is definitely good to have in terms of his physicality, right? And I know that, again, his performances have dipped, but when we're going against teams that have tricky wingers or forwards, I would prefer Ferland Mendy out there over Fran Garcia. But I think a majority of the time, Fran Garcia should be the starting left back more times than not because we should be dominating the ball most games. And Fran Garcia is very good on the ball. But yeah, man, looks like Ferland Mendy will not be available for the rest of this calendar year. Now, to kind of round up all the transfer news, the injury news that we're talking about, right? Obviously, we just ran through Ferland Mendy. Camavinga is still injured, so he won't be available for this game. Jacobo Rahman, he's dealing with an injury, but even if he was fit, this guy was never going to play anyways. Militao towards ACL again, so we won't be seeing him until next season. Danny Carvajal, same thing, towards ACL, so we will not be seeing him. And David Alaba is out for this game, but he has returned to training with the team, but we're not going to see him play until January. So hopefully David Alaba is able to come back soon. But here are all the players that will 100% not be available for this match. Let me know what you guys think about the injury news that Real Madrid have. Now, last thing that I want to show you guys before we get into the predicted starting 11 is the squad that's going to be traveling with us for this match. Now, in goal, right? Let's talk about the goalkeepers that came. You got Courtois, Lunin, Sergio Mestre. In defense, Lucas Vasquez, Jesus Vallejo, Fran Garcia, Rudiger, Youssef, who's a left back from our academy, right? You also have Raul Asensio, and then David Jimenez. Now, in midfield, Jude, Valverde, Modric, Tchouameni, Arda Güler, Danny Ceballos, and Kima. And then in attack, Vinny Jr.'s back, Mbappe, Rodrigo is back, Endrick, and Brahim. So this is the finalized squad for the game against Atalanta. Now, chat, it's time to get into the predicted starting 11. This is my favorite part about every match preview. I need you guys to get in that comment section and let me know what starting 11 you want to see, or give me any thoughts and opinions that you have on the starting 11 that I predict. Let's get into it. And as always, right, after I add the players in there, I will move them around a bit because I do not think it will just be a 4-3-3 flat. All right, guys? So, in goal, obviously, we're talking about Thibaut Courtois here, the best goalkeeper in the world. No questions asked. He is starting if he is fit. And we're going to probably need him to bail us out quite a few times against Atalanta. So there's no other goalkeeper in the world that I would rather have starting in this match. And Thibaut Courtois, he's been arguably our most important player this season, right? We would have lost a few more games if Courtois was not performing the way that he was. Now, this is where it gets tricky, chat, because at right back, I'm torn. Obviously, right, Lucas Vasquez will probably start there because Carlo Ancelotti will run him at right back. But seeing how well Atalanta have played this season, I don't think Lucas Vasquez should start. Honestly, he is a massive liability. Lucas Vasquez is the biggest liability that we have when he plays there. And it's not even his fault because he's not a right back. Vasquez is a right winger / right midfielder that's being forced to play right back because the club have not done what was required to get an adequate backup for Danny Carvajal. So, what I would do if I am Carlo Ancelotti, to be honest, I would start Fede Valverde at right back. I think Valverde is the best right back option that we have. But I know he's not going to do that. And I would be very shocked if he does. So I'm trying to think about what would Carlo do? Or should I just build a starting 11 to what I would do? Because if I take out Valverde from that midfield, then who would I replace him with? Am I expecting Luka Modric to start another game in back-to-back matches? We just saw Luka Modric cook against against Girona. Man, I don't know, chat. This one has me really stumped. But I think, to be honest, let's just put Lucas Vasquez. I just know he's going to start Lucas Vasquez, so let's just put him there. I personally would not want Lucas V to start this game, but whatever. Now, at right center back, I'm going to go Raul Asensio. I don't know if he's added into the database. No, he is not. Lineup builder, you guys got to add my boy Raul Asensio, right? How do you not have Real Madrid's best center back this season not available? Come on now. But Raul Asensio, I think, has to go back into the starting 11. Against Girona, Carlo started Tchouameni. So I'm not trying to see that again. Tchouameni did play well, though. But no, Raul Asensio, since Militao has been injured, has stepped up, and he has literally saved us this season. Because if he did not play well, and if we had to start Jesus Vallejo, chat, we might be cooked. So keep that in mind. Raul Asensio at right center back. Now, at left center back, obviously we're going to go Rudiger, right? No choice. Rudiger has to start every single game. Unless we're going to go sign a defender in January. But until that time, Rudiger must start. We don't have that many options. We only have 3 fit center backs. Rudiger, Raul, and Vallejo. So, yes, Rudiger is out there, obviously. Now, at left back, since Ferland Mendy is injured, right? the obvious one is Fran Garcia. And you guys know, I don't mind Fran Garcia being out there. I think Fran Garcia is a good left back. And I think he does help us going forward with his overlapping, and his crossing ability is really good. I think he's the best crosser of the ball that we have. Now, at left mid, give me Jude. All right, Jude Bellingham's going to be very crucial in this game. The midfield battle is going to be very crucial because Atalanta got a good midfield as well. And we saw the form that Jude's on right now. Man the match performance against Girona, right? Also had a man the match performance against Getafe, right? He's finding his best form. He's also starting to get the goals and assists again, right? Jude is very crucial for this game. Now, at DM, got to go Tchouaméni, right? Carlo Ancelotti's been starting him damn near every single game that he's been back from injury. And again, I don't want to see him at center back because Raul Asensio deserves to be there. So I think Tchouaméni goes back into the midfield. And then at right mid, I believe that we go Valverde, right? Now, that's a big reason why I didn't put Valverde at right back, because even though I think he is a better right back than Lucas Vazquez, I think we just need him in that midfield, right? We know how important Valverde is. Arguably one of our most solidified players, right? Always reliable, never injured, can do multiple positions and play them at a very high level. Now, on that right wing, I'm nervous here because do you put Rodrigo in the starting 11? I don't know. Rodrigo just came back from injury a week ago. And then he had to miss the Girona game through injury again. So maybe you don't play him there. Personally, I'm going Arda Güler. I think Arda Güler needs to start. You saw him have a very good performance against Girona. He was doing a lot of dirty work as well, right? You saw Arda Güler tracking back and defending to cover for Lucas Vazquez. And then he also got his first goal of the season. Arda Güler, to me, is an absolute baller, generational talent. He must play more. And I think he can have another good performance against Atalanta. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky. You got to play Mbappe. I think Mbappe, actually, I think Vinicius starts in the 9. I think this is what Carlo wants to do. We've saw quotes from Carlo Ancelotti even before Vinicius got injured, right? He came out and said he thinks that Vinny likes playing down the middle and he's been thriving in that position. And to be fair, right, the game that Vinicius did play as a striker, he cooked. And I think the club do want to accommodate Mbappe. Now, I don't like that. I think Vinicius should start on that left wing and Mbappe should just have to figure it out. And if Mbappe cannot figure it out, then he needs to be either dropped or sold. But I think Carlo will start Vinny at the 9. Now, left wing, right? I think Mbappe will start from there. Now, this does not mean that this is where they will be for the entire game, right? Now, let me move some things around, right? I think Tchouaméni will be a little bit deeper. I think Jude needs to be a little higher up, closer to the box. And then I think that Valverde will be in like that middle area like this. Now, just because you see Vinny as a striker and Mbappe on the left, I think that they will intertwine, right? So there'll be times where in the flow of the game, Mbappe might be in the middle, and then you will see Vinny on the left, right? And then again, other times, you will see Vinny down the middle, Mbappe on the left. It's just about them building the chemistry and knowing when to switch with each other and in what position should they be doing it from. But this is how I think we ultimately line up against Atalanta. And if you guys don't believe me about Vinicius playing central, just Google it. I think Carlo will start him down the middle. And wherever Vinicius plays, he's an absolute monster. And just having him back in our attack is going to be a big boost for the squad. But get in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about my predicted starting 11, right? Now, big up to your damn selves if you've made it through to the end of this video, right? Make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications because we will be live with a watch along for this game. You guys do not want to miss that. So turn on those notifications so you don't miss anytime I drop a new video or I go live. Do not forget to get your comments in the chat. I will be arguing or answering any questions or concerns or opinions that you guys drop in there, right? But big up to your damn selves. Real Madrid must win against Atalanta. I will give my score prediction right before kickoff on the watch along. So you guys definitely make sure that you are there. Big week ahead. We must. Holla Madrid.